Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss the Indira Gandhi phase which extends from 1966 to 1977. So it is from the Spectrum's A Brief History of Modern India, the most recommended book for UPSC preparation. So let's begin. So after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri, what happened was Gulzari Lal Nanda was again appointed as the interim prime minister. Then there were elections. Indira Gandhi won the election and she was chosen as the prime minister by the senior congressmen because they thought that she is weak and they thought that they can manipulate her according to their wish. But then in the future, it was proved wrong. Okay, and moving into her early life, we know that she, being the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first prime minister of India, she was drawn into the freedom struggle right from the childhood days. It is reported that during one of Swadeshi movement for the boycott of foreign goods, she gave up her doll made in England to be thrown into the fire. So she was in the movement right from the childhood, and in 1936, Indira Gandhi joined the Indian National Congress, and also in 1938 she became the member of Indian League. Okay, and looking into her political journey after independence, she was there in the political scene because of her father Jawaharlal Nehru as well as her husband, who was also a politician. So she was present in the political arena for a long time, and she joined the Congress Working Committee in 1955, and in 1959 she was elected as a party's president. And later in 1964 she became the member of Rajya Sabha, and in 1965 we know that Lal Bahadur Shastri inducted her into the cabinet as the information and broadcasting minister. Then looking into her tenure as the prime minister, she was the third prime minister of India, and she was the first women prime minister to occupy the post in the country. And to tell about the election which took place in 1967, the election took place in a situation where there was stagnation, that is, growth was not there, everything was stagnating, and there were food crisis, there was shortage of food, and there were rising prices, and there was unemployment. When I read this, I just think about the present situation. Now we have the food prices rising, and also we have the unemployment problem, and we are also facing stagflation in the present day. So you can imagine, like those days also it was there. And there was also another one thing, there was devaluation of rupee, and it was criticized by many. What does mean by devaluation of rupee is that when the value of money against the dollar increases, that is called devaluation of money. In that case, our imports will become very costly, whereas the exports will become very profitable. So the devaluation of currency will favor exports than imports. So even now in China US trade war, China was devaluating its currency because it's an export oriented economy. The Chinese economy is an export oriented economy. So devaluating its currency, it favors export. So it was combating this trade war by devaluating its currency. So in those days also there was devaluation of the rupee, but it was criticized by many, and there were also disputes with US, and they were mainly because of the wars and everything. There were disputes, and because of that the US was not ready to supply wheat for us, and because of that there was food crisis and everything. And in the 1967 elections, uh, Indira Gandhi won, as I told earlier, but the Congress won with very thin majority, and Indira Gandhi became the prime minister, and Morarji Desai became the deputy prime minister and finance minister. But what happened was Congress in the other states, they won with very less majority, or even they faced failures. So when there was coalition government, what happened was there was a lot of instability, and also there were defections all over. So because of that, the government was facing a lot of problem because of this instability and because of the thin majority the government has having. So that's all about the prime minister. So moving to Congress split and formation of minority government in the center. So what happened was there was a lot of internal problems within the Congress itself. There were ideological differences between the leaders. There was there were two sections of people, one the right and the other left. So left wanted to build a socialistic country, and the right wanted to build a country where private sector will play major role, and they wanted to have good relationship with the USA, United States of America. So there were a lot of ideological differences between the leaders. Even Indira Gandhi, she had her own opinion, and she was in favor of taking radical economic reforms. But this was not approved by the other party leaders, other party senior members of the party. So what happened was in she released a 10-point program in the Congress Working Committee, and the main points were like, social control of banks, that means nationalization of banks. And then she wanted to uh, foreign trade under the government control, and even she wanted to nationalize the insurance companies, and she wanted to keep a ceilings on the properties. And also she was in favor of distributing grains for the public, and she wanted to implement the land reform programs in a speedy manner. And she also wanted to supply plots in subsidized cost for the poor to build houses. So these were all, were the points mainly under the 10-point program. And she was also in favor of abolition of privy purses. So privy purses means, some amount of money you paid annually to the erstwhile princely state rulers, and that goes from the taxpayers money, and that money will not be taxed also. So the some amount of money is going annually that extends from rupees 5000 to nearly 25 lakhs. So that much money was going, and she was against this, and she wanted to abolish this privy purses. And in the end, what happened was, she brought out the nationalization of banks without the approval of the finance minister and other senior party members. So in the end, what happened was Morarji Desai, the finance minister, he resigned, and also there was death of the president Zakir Hussain in 1969. So after the death of the president, they wanted to elect a new president, and there was difference of opinion in the election of president also. Um, the Congress party members wanted to choose a member, but Indira Gandhi was afraid that the new president will not support her, so she wanted to elect V.V. Giri, who was the independent candidate, as a president of India in 1961. And V.V. Giri was won the election, and he became the president. So as a result of this, the Congress party president, what he did was, he expelled Indira Gandhi out of the party. He said, "No, you get out because you didn't obey the rules of the party." And so, on the grounds of indiscipline, she was expelled out. And but Indira Gandhi, what did she do was, she was able to get some people to her side. She got some majority people to party members to her side, and she formed a faction group within the party, and that group is called recusationist. And she was able to get some support of party members, and the opposite group is called organization. So now there's a chance that she will lose her power. No, she don't have that majority because many is in the other group, and she has in another group. So within the split, within the Congress party there's a split. So, but then she was able to get the support from regional parties like DMK and Akali Dal, and so she continued as a Prime Minister of India.